Welcome to the Unfiltered Path Podcast, where we explore life's journey without the constraints of filters. In a world saturated with highlight reels, we dive deep into the true essence of individual experiences, offering listeners an uncensored glimpse into the triumphs, struggles, and transformative moments that define us. Our mission is to provide hope, inspire resilience, and remind you that every path, no matter how windy or rocky, can lead to growth and enlightenment. Join us as we navigate the uncharted territories of truth, and to be moved, be inspired, and discover that you're not alone on this unfiltered journey of life. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Duval. I am one of your co hosts here on the Unfiltered Path podcast. My business is Valued Productions. I help businesses and entrepreneurs turn strangers into clients using video content and online strategies. And I am joined with my co host today.
Good morning, everyone. Trinity Baker, mindset coach and motivational speaker. I help my clients rise through challenges, not just survive, and that's personally and professionally. One of your co-hosts here on the Unfiltered Path podcast, joined with my amazing co-host.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle. I'm the owner of Aerial Jade. I'm an aerialist. That's a fancy term for performing suspended in the air. Essentially, I'm the bird of the circus. I'm also an educator, so I teach other people how to do it too. And today we are here with our guest.
Hello, everyone. I am Michelle Buck, founder of Vitality Room in Wyndham. And for those of you who are watching it, not just listening to it, you can see the harmonic egg that is behind me. So helping people mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, just reconnect with themselves and support the nervous system so you can be the best version of yourself.
Love that.
Oh,
Lovely.
I love that.
Tell me
Yeah.
more, because
Yes.
because if you can see what I'm seeing, it looks like she has a portal behind her with maybe somewhere comfy to sit.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a very good description. That is a very good description.
If I could meditate in that egg, like not even on either. I think just its whole being, like this, the presence of it is so comforting. So comforting.
Well, it
Egg?
resonates when it doesn't have anything going. So, like, yeah.
Tell us more. Tell us.
You're
Yeah,
you're
tell-
both you're
yeah.
both spot on. You're both spot on. So the egg, it's called the harmonic egg, and it's about 11 feet wide, 7 feet, 8 feet tall, right? So it's really large. I have a small car. I could literally fit my car inside of it if I wanted to. And it has a chair for it's like a zero gravity chair that you can lay back in. I close the doors around you, we put the lights on, and I pump in sound. And so Graham's right. It could be unplugged. It's not even a like an EMF therapy. It has nothing to do with electricity. The structure itself resonates at 1410 hertz. So for those people who don't understand what that means, if you step outside and we've heard of grounding, we've heard of earthing, right? You put your bare feet in the soil, you're soaking up 7.83 hertz from the earth. Seven, single digit. The egg is resonating at 1410.
Wow.
So, and that's just the structure because of the sacred geometry and the materials that it's made from. So you're right. You could just sit in there, and sometimes
Yeah.
I do. It's not even on, and I just sit in there because I just need a minute, and I close my eyes, and it is so beautiful. And I'll have clients that oftentimes they'll cry when they walk in the door, just the first time they've come in because their bodies haven't been exposed to this type of frequency. And it just overwhelms them in a beautiful way. And that would be the people who are inherently overwhelmed when they walk in. It's like almost like immediately giving them a shift towards the better.
I love
That's
that so much.
amazing.
I love
I-
that. I am for
I-
that.
The first couple of times that I had like people I had just met get on, a discovery call with me to talk about power of coaching and like they cry within like the first 5 minutes. I had to like really understand why that was. And it's because we're offering a safe space where people feel it, they can finally go, right? And not be judged and not judge themselves and not wonder why and all of these things that go in our head, all those shame thoughts. I felt that when I walked in with you and I sat in that egg was like, finally, I can be like, okay, I want to manifest or shift my energy in this area and not feel guilty about that.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right? So it kind of like, I don't know. I felt like you had it was a safe space when you walked in there.
Yeah,
Oh,
100%.
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, it's such a us. Any of the listeners, if you're in the area, you have to go check it out because it is such an amazing experience. And like the way that the sounds like engulf, like I've had some crazy like visual experiences that have like connected me
Mm.
to further growth in myself. Like it's just been absolutely amazing.
Michelle, can you tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about the Hertz frequencies,
Yeah.
what those all are, and why they're important, and how they like connect with our growth and where we're going and our current feelings and all those thoughts, and like what happens when we increase our presence around like the 1400 hertz?
So I'm going to beat around it a little bit and still answer your question at the same time. Because with the sessions that we do in the egg, it's more about the tonality from the instruments that different tones can affect your body just the same as different frequencies. So in the
Mm,
word frequency is used in so many different ways. You know, a lot of people some people will think of like the Rife machine, the Rife frequencies. Other people will think of you know, if I'm tuning my guitar to 432 hertz, some people will think of, you know, ultimately frequency is the number of times that the in energy pulses essentially the
yeah,
wavelength of
the
an
wave.
energy
Yeah.
within a second. Right. So it's like, what are all these frequencies? Fast frequency, high frequency, low frequency. But if we look at this more about how we understand it within ourselves and relate it to ourselves, and we look at emotion, for example, you have love and hate on two ends of a spectrum. And
Mm.
if we take the numbers out of it and we just look at concept, love has a higher frequency than hate does. If you feel unwell within yourself, what is that doing in your body? You're slow, your brain is foggy, you're not
Mm,
digesting well, you might just want to nap all day. I mean, that would be a low pulse within yourself. It's a low frequency. And then you get someone who's really excited about what they have going on and they're full of love and it's like, "Oh my God, the world is amazing." You can see the difference in their frequency. So
mm,
when you walk into a space like I've created here, that just the entire place is just resonating super high and really clean. I'm really careful about making sure
yeah.
it's clear. Like a lot of effort goes into making sure the energy is safe and resonating high. You can't help but feel different. And if
Mm.
Right.
you walk in here feeling super low, that's when that cry comes out. That's when people walk in because they're like, oh, something is changing inside of me. I'm letting it go. That cry
Mm-hmm.
is like, I'm releasing it. But you don't consciously realize that's what happens. So I'll sit in the lounge. I always sit and have a nice intake conversation with my clients before they go in the egg. And like you, Trinity, the first 5 minutes of the conversation, people will break down. And we're not talking about anything deep. It's just, it is breaking up and loosening up those low vibrations and allowing it to release. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Well, if you think about how your cells are all vibrating already, and then you've got this frequency safe space, similarly, like tuning a piano or tuning a guitar, the string or whatever, it's going to tune up to that vibration that you're working on. So, like if your cells are low and you go in, it'll tune up to that specific vibration, and that's where you get what you were talking about, which
Yeah,
I
and I
find
want to
fascinating.
piggyback. I want to piggyback on exactly what you just said. If you're familiar with the grandfather clock phenomenon, where if you have a room full of grandfather clocks and they're all exactly the same, it's going to take time, but they're like sort of the pendulums are back and forth and all different yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, they're like going left and right, but they're not in sync,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
then you bring in a large grandfather clock, one that is significantly bigger than the others. They will all sync to
That's
the
so
large grandfather clock.
crazy.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
the egg is the large grandfather clock, and you are the small one. So just by being in its presence, it's going to seek out your lowest vibrations. This is where I'm like, oh, the 1410 isn't important as a number. It's important in the fact that it simply is higher than where we are.
Right.
That's really the main priority of that. So it's
Yeah.
going to lift your vibration. It's going to look for blockages, and it's just going to wants to raise you. It just wants you to be more like it.
Mm.
That's so
How do you
cool.
refrain from seeing people that are unwell and just wanting to be like, hey, and knowing that you can't really even like market a business that way, or even be like receptive and heard if you just walked up to people and told them like how to actually heal. And I do believe that what you offer, like I should go see you with my leg. You know what I'm saying? Like in
Right.
all
Yeah, you
honesty,
should.
how do you refrain from being so frank with people?
You
Because
haven't
I
met
know
me.
the power of what you are saying you have. So I'm like you must just like, how do you keep it?
Michelle's
So
like, I don't.
She does. She's straight to it.
I drank water once from Honduras.
Mm.
And there's arguably that there is places you can go there to just be in the water and drink the water and just for like 2 weeks. And that could heal you on a very
Ah,
large level. Just the water, never mind what other things like fruits and herbs and things, just water. And I remember having this said water once and I cried because one, I couldn't have it every day. Two, oh my God, this is kept from us. How you have something that has that similar jarring kind of effect that like this exists and it's not we're not regularly informed of it and it's probably quite powerful for the healing journey. How do you keep it like together and
that's why she's on
explaining it?
this podcast.
Well, for sure,
Right?
sure. But like like I don't know, like you guys got all quiet when I was talking about the water, right?
Well,
This is like outside of what people are like,
This
wait,
true.
you know
Is
what
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
but
So
it's
like wait, I know what you're saying.
right. It's a tool though. It's like I think the same way about people who don't go put their feet in the on the ground in the woods on a daily basis because like
Mm,
that is my experience where I'm like, holy crap, people are missing this. Or the people who don't
mm,
have a coach or mentor, like that is a whole frequency of its own and feedback and
Mm.
brainstorming that like takes you to the next level. I think we all have those things, and then you realize, Danielle, like you drink the water and you're like, holy crap, this is like a huge tool, right? Um,
Well, on your note, Danielle, Michelle was telling me that the musicians are like the sounds that get pumped in, they actually record them in places similarly like what you were just talking about, where like the frequency in that area is higher and
yeah.
then they're like in tuned. And so it just like embodies the higher level frequency.
Absolutely. We have a trilogy of sessions that are all performed by a gentleman named Jorge in Peru. And he did one in the Amazon jungle, one on the coast of Peru, and one in the Andes Mountains.
so this is exactly where the water comes from.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's
I did not know that before I said what I said. I was like,
So
oh, that's
crazy.
where the
Yeah,
water
it's
is.
connected.
Like, can we go on vacation?
Okay,
I
so
mean,
I
we could
had
go into so many different directions. I mean, look at the axes of where all the energy runs on the planet. Look at where the pyramids have been built. Look at where all these giant ancient stone structures have been built. They're healing land, and it's because of the energy. It's because of the
Mm.
frequency. And the land has memory too. So you can even have a low vibration point on the planet, bring enough people in to do meditation and high vibe activities, and you can literally heal the planet and that will resonate there. So
Oh,
then you
that's
go and
amazing.
visit it years later and you like that energy is still there. So we seek out those different places around the planet to be able to perform the music on, and we use high heart-centered musicians to do the performance. And it doesn't end there. because what we do ripples out. And there's, the ether holds memory. And I could go so deep, and I'm going to try not to. But the ether holds so much memory and connects you. So, like, Graham, you and I have been in the same room together.
Mm-hmm.
Our energy fields have overlapped because,
Mm-hmm.
it extends out a couple of feet. You stand next to
Yep.
someone. You and I are connected. You
Mm-hmm.
can do something and I can feel it. I'm not going to know it's from you. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, Graham just did something, right? But I could get a weird feeling, have no idea where it came from. It's because you and I are connected. So it's the
That's so
same with the
interesting.
musician to the music. So we will even
Wow.
test the music regularly. We've retired more than half of the music that has been created for the egg because the lifestyle changed of the musicians who performed it.
Wow, that's
Wow.
crazy. So you just confirmed I have this with thanks to my energy healer I work with on a regular basis. She's taught me this practice of cutting energy cords, right? And how essential that is not only for me personally and the toxic people that were in my life at the time. She taught me this, but I've learned this with clients, and not because any of my clients are bad at all. They're all amazing freaking people with really great energy. But I need to take my energy back. I need to have that power in order to then really serve my clients at the highest power. So tell us a little bit about your practices, because you are constantly seeing clients too. You're in their energies. You've got the energy of the egg. You've got the energy of the fatality room as a whole, which I feel like you could probably take the egg out of there, and the fatality room would be like this blessed sacred spot at this.
Oh,
It is
totally.
now.
It totally is.
I remember the
Totally.
first time I met you, I walked into like just that room before you even got there, and I was like, whoa, this is like a place. This is a place for sure.
Yeah.
I went to Italy, and like the Vatican. The Vatican was that place. It was like, holy crap, the spiritual connection and feeling that I got at the Vatican was like,
Oh
Yeah.
man.
wow.
I went to
You
Sedona.
deserve that trip. It was beautiful to
Oh,
watch you on it.
it was like
I was
seeing all
looking
this.
forward to it. I was
Yeah.
like, post more.
Yes, I
I
know.
want people to
I was
travel like
totally
that.
totally living
Yeah.
vicariously
Yeah, I love that.
through.
I
I
love
was
that.
like, yeah.
So, Michelle, tell us like what you do to make sure you stay at the energy to bring these people this higher vibe.
It's a really, really good question because when I first got into this, I came from corporate America. I didn't come from energy healing.
Mhm.
So most people who will start a business using a harmonic egg, they're energy healers who then want to start a business. I was a business person who then wanted to become an energy healer. So I knew
Yeah.
nothing. I was so green when I came into it. And the first probably 3 months were very taxing.
Yeah.
I brought everything home. I was unwell as I was going through this journey. The energy that the egg puts out, as loving and beautiful as it is, it's intended to be consumed for 50 minutes once a week. And I'm sitting in the space running 6 sessions a day, 5 days a week. So I was completely overwhelmed. I was depleted. I would come home after having conversations with people about their traumas. I see veterans, and you list the types of traumas that are out there. Look, in the beginning, okay, our energy shifts and our clientele shifts with us.
Mhm.
I was healing my traumas. So naturally, almost every client that walked through my door was here to heal a trauma. So it
Mm.
was heavy. And I'm not a licensed therapist. I was never professionally trained to be able to do all of that. So I would take it home with me. And I can remember one client in particular stayed with me for 3 days. And
Yeah.
like I could tell like when I picked it up and when I dropped it. So now um, it's really things that we all should be doing every day anyway to protect ourselves. It doesn't, you don't have to be an energy healer to have to do these things. You know, when you walk into a room and an argument has just been there, there's energy there. You know, when you're driving to work and you don't want to be there and you start to feel that feeling, there's energy associated with all of that. And how are you protecting yourself? So personally, it starts the moment that I wake up. It's hands on the heart and it's finding anything and everything that I can be grateful for. Now, full transparency, it's not a lot because I'll say one thing and then I'll fall back asleep. And then I'll wake up, I go, oh yeah, gratitude, and then I'll fall back asleep. So It sounds
I love
beautiful
it.
in concept, but it's a very messy process.
And practices don't need to be perfect. Like I remember
I love
my
that.
journey through meditation was I resisted meditation. My coach told me I needed to meditate for 2 years, and I never once did it because I thought meditation had to be quiet with your eyes closed in a certain position and then blah 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 blah.
You got to let it go.
Yeah, like just freaking do it. And when I just gave myself permission to just do it and not be perfect, that's when I was like, holy crap, meditation is powerful, right?
Yeah.
2 minutes, 3 minutes. I do 30, I do an hour, but just giving your space that. So the gratitude thing, perfect example. Gratitude, you say one and you fall back asleep. Imagine what your subconscious is doing in that time.
Absolutely. And I say that too. And I have these affirmations that I say, obviously, I sound like, oh, I do all these wonderful things, but I do it so messy. It's ridiculous. But the same thing, I'll bring in the affirmations and then get distracted. And it's like, oh, well, that was the last thing that I focused on for a bit. So then I'll read 5 pages. That's it. It's not a lot. You don't have to do a lot. 5 pages of some high vibe, heart-centered book. And then I'll journal maybe one freaking page. And sometimes that journal is, what am I going to do today? Oh, yeah, I need to finish this task. Oops, look at the time, gotta go. It's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like what the real power that made the biggest difference, so that allows me to get started with my day. But what makes the biggest difference is the way that I cleanse the space here and I cleanse for myself at the same time. So I'm moving through the center with my sage spray. I would love to do smoke sage, but I don't know how my fire detectors would work
Yeah.
out. Detectors would work out with that, so I'm just not going to do it. And then obviously not everyone can do this, but I'll turn the egg on with white lights for clearing. I'll play Frequency of Love and I stand in front of it and I outwardly say out loud what I want to receive today. What do I want to attract today? And in that process, I protect myself and I have a little energy protection prayer that I say. And then I extend that protection to, I say to my space, to this building, to my property, and out through the entire community of Wyndham.
Mm.
And then I thank my guides.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just feel totally, totally, totally centered after. A lot of times, so I'll do it with my eyes closed, but I'm doing it out loud. And at the end, because you need to turn it off after, you can get stuck in that weird space. So I just clap my hands and say, I am protected. And I open my eyes and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm still here.
You just confirmed what I absolutely love to preach, which is just do it messy because we're not supposed to be perfect. And in my practice, isn't your practice, isn't Graham, isn't like Graham shoving his face in the ice water. Like there is no way in hell I'm gonna put my face in the ice water. But I'm gonna go into the woods when it's -20. Are you gonna do that? No.
No.
Right. So we all have our own practices, and that's what we're called to do, but we think it has to look like someone else's. As long as you feel good. And as long as you are attracting what you want to attract, keep going, right? Build on it. And then it becomes habits. So, like, you think about journaling and you think about all these things, and that you have to have this structured time. It's habits. Habit stack them. Get them. Like, what can you do? Can you listen to an audiobook while you're brushing your teeth?
I
Right?
do that every day.
Instead of scrolling in your bed and falling asleep with your phone in your hand, staring at a screen, like, why are we not journaling instead? Like, how can you replace these habits? And again, you can still scroll, but maybe taking the last 2 minutes to journal. Like, those shifts make a huge difference.
Yeah.
And it allows you to serve your clients more. And I think that that's the most important thing that everyone, it doesn't matter what you do for work or a career or business or whatever, we're always serving. So when you think about it from that, right? Because even serving is being a parent, serving is being a friend, serving is being family, right? Because we're always serving someone some way. When you do this, it's not just for you, it's for everyone around you because your energy increases. So, like Michelle, you have to stay at high frequency. Like, we've got to stay at high frequencies as people in the energy healing world. We've got to stay there because we don't ever want to not bring our clients up when we're working with them. We also don't want to take that stuff home.
Right.
I work in my home, so I don't want to take it. I don't want to keep it here, right? So I want to like let it go and completely disattach from it.
Mhm.
I love what you did. That egg is amazing. It was a whole
Yeah.
done so much stuff like this, and that egg was like a whole different experience. It was amazing.
I think what I took from what you said, besides, the experience with the egg, but of your personal journey, is when we go into things that we enjoy, what I neglected to take into account, I think I knew, but I just didn't realize how far it would go, is something that you brought up was you're there 5 times a week around something that's supposed to be a small amount of time. Well, that's exactly like my teaching. So a lot of times I'm doing the same move repetitive. We're learning something new. So my bruise is about 1,000 times bigger because I've done it all week when there's never really rest
Mm-hmm.
truly between all of it, right? And then one thing I've realized now that I do advance aerial where they're doing, pretty crazy drops and things, 20 something feet in the air, is I can, and I've even done ayahuasca. Let me be incredibly clear. If I want
Me
to
too. Let's
visualize
hang out.
something,
Wow.
if I
Yes.
want to visualize something, I am fully capable. I'm reliving every performance they do physically. I leave there and I feel like I just worked out every single routine and I did not take into account what that feel like. And now I have, I tore across my entire meniscus and just had knee surgery. So in a lot of ways, like I know that's energy. Like I had gone this whole time with not really having major injuries except for like bruises and hamstrings and stuff. So it's taking that into account. How do we protect ourselves from constantly being in that vibrational state to lead people, but we shouldn't be in that state all the time either, So I'm trying to balance it all. It's crazy
Well, and
because I'm
it's
like, I'm not
finding
going
a
to be
way.
able to actually do my art because I'm like reliving it with their time, their efforts,
Mm.
and I'm exhausted.
It's finding a way to let it flow through you as
Mm.
opposed to come from you,
Mm.
right? Because if it's from you, you take on the responsibility of the outcome.
My muscles think they're doing the work too.
Yeah,
Mm.
And
right.
they're trained to be that way. So
Mm.
to tell, like, that's exactly what visualizing for an athlete is. We're
Mm.
preparing our muscles for the journey we're about to take with our mind before we do it. And it's
Yeah.
the best athletes in the world or older ones, myself, this is the tool I use, So it's figuring that out. I think your egg would help me a little, like, because I think I would need to increase
Well,
how
speaking
I'm
of
healing.
visualization, I think you would love her egg.
Yeah, most definitely. You got to go check it out.
So here's how I was taught. I mean, I've taken a lot of trauma certification. I am not a therapist. I am not a psychologist, but I've worked in the psychiatric industry for a while as a nurse. So I also have higher power belief, right? So this is important that we have higher power, that like we're always supported by angel spirits, whatever it is, right? So here's how I do it is when I am working with someone who is like going through a trauma or physically, this could be your practice too or something like this. I take myself out of my body. So like I see myself sitting here talking to people, helping them, supporting them, mentoring them, coaching them, but I'm not here. I actually like see myself do it. So like I see myself out of it. So can you picture yourself out of your avatar? Because I love these are your words, Danielle. Your avatar. You are like overseeing it. So you're not like maybe you can take yourself out of your physical body. So you're not taking that physical work on as you're teaching, unless you're actually physically doing it. But maybe that's a way so that your muscles don't feel like they're being used.
And it's not even just the muscles, so it's anxiety too and
Yeah,
fear. Like
yeah.
when they're 22 feet in the air and they're about to invert, it's both exhausting and scary. And I can feel it every single time exactly as it is in all of it, like because I've lived it so many times. And then right, I'm responsible for their overall being. So I'm so in tuned,
Yeah.
right? Like dark focus,
Yeah.
like because it's someone else too, because I'm a lover. So like I'm just like like so enthralled in their experience, like so focused with them. But I do need to be more intentional about how much I'm in it because I leave and I'm physically like exhausted.
Well,
Like
I think your knee injury was that lesson for you, right? Your knee injury was probably like, look, you need to level up the ability to disconnect from the people that you're teaching. Because Danielle, I just saw your graphic of all of the children that you have in your showcase, and I'm
It
like,
took me 2 days to make that.
right,
I'm so
like
glad you
that.
love it.
The individuals that you are training, you're training more than like when you and I first met, like you had small classes and now you have a whole showcase of students. Like that's a lot on your body.
Yeah,
So maybe your knee injury was that
crazy.
of like you need to be able to physically disconnect yourself so your body is not keeping the score. You haven't read that book. Very great book.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, being way more intentional about it. I've definitely taken that
I, yeah.
it's like a skill I teach too, though. So I try not to just teach move. It's like, how can you wrap the steps in your head so you remember it? How can you envision in your head so you remember it? How can
Mm.
like, so I'm like teaching these skills, but like I need to be removed. It's very interesting.
It is. Michelle, would you leave our listeners with one or a couple pieces of advice of, because it doesn't really matter like what industry we're in, whether you're a business owner, corporate America, or whatever you do, we're always serving. So what would you say to our listeners to be able to start their process of disconnecting in their own way, whatever you do, right? Because like mine's more mental, Danielle's is more physical. Like, what are some tips that you have to like just start a disconnection or a grounding process of some sort for yourself?
Oh, yeah, you just used the word grounding for sure.
Yeah.
Well, some people, and it looks different for everybody. Some people, it's as simple as having a little crystal in their pocket. And when you start to feel, let's say you're having a conversation with someone who your energies don't align, or like they're really laying in thick about all the things that went wrong this past weekend, and you're just trying to hold out and have like, I swear I had a good weekend, but now I'm starting to second guess myself because this person had a terrible weekend. It's like reach into your pocket and just touch that crystal.
Mhm.
Give yourself something that you can anchor to. Now,
Yes.
that has morphed for me to where I'm
Mm.
able to sort of turn off my analytical mind. And I think, Trinity, this goes in the way of what you're talking about. You visualize yourself out of body, but I sort of turn off the analytical mind and let the subconscious speak. And I think that actually, because Graham was like, oh, she'll just tell you, that's who's telling. Like,
Yeah.
people say stuff, and I'm just like, here's what's coming. Because if I stop and think about it, I'm going to feel what the person's talking about. I'm going to second
Mm.
guess what I'm about to say for a response. Now I'm tied to my response. And then if I speak wrong and I make them feel bad, that was my fault, right? And then I'm like spinning out of control.
Yeah.
And now your trauma became my trauma.
But that's the real, like you said, it coming from the subconscious. That's the real connection, like the love connection, the connection to that higher whatever your thoughts on a higher are. And so like when you can embody that and like start living from that on a regular basis, it really is it, next level.
And for anyone who's not used to that, it can seem very overwhelming. This isn't something that people have an ability to just turn on, right? Like it
Right.
takes a lot of practice.
It's
And
practice.
going back to that messiness, just
Mm-hmm.
be messy, just try things, see what feels good. It might feel awkward in the first couple times, and you try something for 2 weeks, give it 2 weeks, give anything two
Ex
weeks, right? And then
exactly.
see if you had a glimmer. Maybe it's the meditation and you're like 2 minutes a day, 3 minutes a day. Maybe it's journaling and all you're writing is, I don't know what to write about today. But give
Mm-hmm.
any of them 2 weeks and you're going to have a glimmer of something if it's meant for you. And now you know what your practice is that you can
Ex
start working on.
exactly. Even just having the thought of like, I'm trying to do, or like I'm working on this thing. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, like you said, if you're doing a journaling and you do it for 2 weeks and in that time you realize the journaling has nothing to do with the way you want to do it, but like something will happen and you'll be like, you know what, actually running for 5 miles is the thing that gives me that connection more. You know what I mean? Just the thought of it being on the forefront of your mind is going to make something happen.
Mhm. So
I
true.
love that.
I always trust the random people, whether it's church lady or crazy, that has something to tell me from some intuitive feeling. I am just for it. Doesn't mean I'll absorb it all, but I absolutely am here to hear it.
Most definitely.
One of my favorite quotes is from John Lennon, and it's about the music from the spheres really came from him channeling. That he essentially holds no
Yeah.
he says I practiced for the tool I was going to use to channel the message.
I
Yes.
love that.
That's how much his ego has responsibility for the art he had created, because
That's
it came to play. He
exactly
was like,
what
I
it is.
did it. I know I did it. I went to school. I learned how to do this. I did what I had to do to be in the position. But when the moment came, the reality is that he was channeling, and that it was coming from something else.
That's exactly what it is. And I hope that our listeners can maybe that this podcast is that catalyst that kind of starts that connection of whether they're starting in on their practice for 2 weeks, or this is the thing that this episode is the thing that they listen to that starts, like what you were saying, Danielle, starts giving the ability to channel that connection to that higher self. And so, Michelle, I appreciate you joining us today. It's been absolute pleasure. And our listeners, I hope you got some value from this. My name is Graham, owner of Valued Productions. You can find me online at Valued Productions on social media, VALUD Productions, same thing, valuedproductions.com. Look forward to connecting with anybody. And I'm joined with my co-host today.
Hello, Trinity Baker, mindset coach and motivational speaker. If you are ready to learn how to rise through your challenges instead of just surviving, you can go visit my social media accounts, The Trinity Baker. Lots of positive, inspiring messages that will raise your vibration, or my website, thetrinitybaker.com, here with my co-host.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle. I'm the owner of Aerial Jade. You can find me on all major platforms. I lead with motherhood, athleticism, and just overall positive experience in the artistic kind of expression. And we are here with our guest today,
Michelle Buck, owner of Vitality Room, featuring the Harmonic Egg in Windham, Maine. So if you do want to learn more about it and you want to schedule an appointment, please do so at vitality-room.com. And if you want to see lots of amazing testimonials, I have them all over my socials, so you can definitely get a lot of more info there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle, for joining. Thank you for listening today. Make sure you go follow, subscribe the Unfiltered Path Podcast where you listen to your favorite podcasts, and on YouTube, hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode. And we'll see you all next week on the Unfiltered Path Podcast.